Well, I don't know if you guys can see it that far away, but there's snow in the Coast Range. Our elevation right here at the farm is like 157 feet. So Coast Range isn't that tall, but we've had really bad weather. So I made a trip to California and picked up some bees, and then I got them home and it started snowing and cold, raining. This is why we put pollen patties on the ones we had and could. So the trip to California to get bees was kind of a mess. I don't remember how much I put out on video for the trip that we made to Minnesota, which was a complete fiasco for trying to get bees. We got some nice equipment, but the bee part was crazy and nobody quite knew how to do it, and it was a mess, and nobody would do it the same again. But sometimes in the middle of a trip, it is what it is. Well, on this one, I had Dave was doing the contact with the people. Part of the problem's communication problem. The guy that we got him from is Russian or Ukrainian, and the father who has the bees speaks broken English. We could talk to him there, but he certainly wasn't going to try to talk to you on the phone. So Dave was dealing with the son. So there's some breakdown there. They told us to be there at 9:30 in the morning. They tried to push us to the next day, but it was the only day that I had that we could go get them. So it was a 9.5 to a 10-hour trip one way. And I had to do another 9.5, 10-hour trip to Reno that weekend. So we blew out when we could. We left here at 9 o'clock, 8:30, 9 o'clock on Tuesday to be there on Wednesday at 9:30. Well, we get there Wednesday about 6:30, and we hang out for a bit, and I got a gal that drove up. She drove 3 hours to get up there to get some rabbits from Susan, so we waited and delivered those, and then drove to the apiary where the bees were at about 9 o'clock, and waited and waited and waited, and the guy finally shows up about 10:30, quarter to 11. And the bees that he's selling us all have pollen traps on them. So I really needed the pollen to make splits up here. And then, of course, we had all the snow and rain and nasty once they got here. So all the pollen they did have in there has been consumed for the most part. So I'm having a hell of a time finding pollen frames to put in my nukes. Now I got pollen sub on them, and they're eating it pretty well. But then we turned around. The guy wanted to wait till that evening to load, but I couldn't. I had to get home. So we loaded them during the day. We lost most of the field bees, stayed there. It sucked because they were 20 frames of bees in these boxes. They were full. But I was kind of glad when we got them home and got cold weather that they weren't that jammed, because it would have been a lot of them in there consuming all the food they had and getting ready to swarm. So in the long run, it might not have been bad. But we turned and drove for home. Got home Wednesday at midnight. I was up at 6 o'clock unloading bees. On Thursday, I had Thursday to get things ready to go to Reno to the rabbit show, and we left at 4 o'clock in the morning Friday morning and drove straight to Reno. So needless to say, I had a 40-hour stretch that I was up and drove 30 of it, turned around, did another long trip. Did deliver some bees on the rabbit trip to a guy, so that was kind of fun to stop and see him and his wife and give him some bees. But I drank way too much Rockstar, but I got the job done. Then Sunday after the show, we turned around and drove all the way home and got home at 12:30 that night. It was pouring rain and about 36 degrees. So the next week I was pretty shot. And then we had the bad weather, so I couldn't get in them, and they're flying. So I'm in them trying to make splits, make some nukes up, and split into some other boxes that I have that are empty, because tomorrow morning they're going to go into some mustard. So trying to get some bee work done, and then the rest of the next week is going to be bad until Friday, not good weather. So I had to do it today. So what I like to do when I make these splits, when I can, and I've done it with some of them, but now I've got some that haven't been in at all that I've got to get through, but I like to go through the box and separate it, find the queen, get her downstairs, get all the brood upstairs, get a queen excluder on them, and let the nurse bees move up. So then I've got nurse bees on my brood, and I try to label my frames if I find a good pollen frame or a honey frame, so I can find them easy when I'm trying to get in there. They're getting a little pissy, damn Ukrainian bees. So then when I come in to make the splits, it's pretty easy. I just grab frames with brood on them, and those are gentle because they're all nurse bees, and then they'll take a queen really well too, because they're all young, so I don't have to wait a long time to get a queen in and get them excited for that. So that's what I like to do. Now these have been pretty easy. I'm not sure why. They've been really easy for me to find the queens in. A bunch of them are marked, but some of them haven't been, but they've been easy to see. They look a little different than some others I've had. At least some of them have. They're a little redder. And the guy we got them from said a friend of his in the Ukraine sent him bees 11 years ago, and that's the line he's been working. So they're probably a little different than a lot of just the Northern California bees. So that's kind of cool to have a different run going. So anyway, I'm going to get in here and get back to doing some more splits, and probably get a little video of it for you, show you what I'm doing. All right, when I'm making these splits, these splits are going to go to work, so I'm building them stronger than I would a nuke. So I'm trying to get 6 frames of bees in there with 4 frames or so of brood, and what I'm looking for is capped brood. If I can get that here, there you guys can see down in there, but this is all open brood. She's laid it back. The problem with very much open brood in my split is they don't have the resources or the field force to take care of it. So if I can take mostly capped brood to the other box, that's going to be better. Some bees will start flying, they'll start bringing things in, the new queen will start laying, and everybody will be happy. And these girls can take right off because they've got resources coming in constantly, so they won't slow down at all. So with some of these I've been just pulling frames out and putting them in. With other ones I'm taking the whole top box. Some of them have been trying to make queens. I think some of these queens might be a little old, and they were jammed when we got them, so you know, there's some swarm instinct going on. So a couple of them have queen cells in them. We'll see how they do. The others are going to get queens. So that's what I'm doing. Is on this one I'll be taking this whole top box, putting it over here on this bottom box, and I'll take what was the top box there, it'll be empty, and I'll put it on this one, and we'll be ready to go. Now this one I know I found the queen and she's in the bottom. Some of these that I haven't, I've got to go back and check to make sure, you know, whether they have a queen or whether they don't have one before I place one in there. So it's starting to cool down. I don't know how many more I'm going to get done. They're getting a little pissy, not flying like they were earlier. So I keep through them till I get cold, and then I figure it's time to stop. Yeah, we're loading them up, getting them on Byron's truck. At daylight, it's cold and raining. It's kind of nice. Well, that was that. Our half a day of summer showed up, and now we're back to winter. Moving bees in the rain. So Byron showed up about 6 this morning. I had a lot of them set in the driveway and ready for him to stack, because my tractor doesn't stack them very well. I can't see to line up the stack. So anyway, I had him out where he could grab them and stack them and put them up. We're moving them into mustard. So shots of it when we get there. Well, Byron's got the last stack of pallets off of his. We got them sitting right here in the corner. Lots and lots and lots of flowers for them here. I got 3 pallets in my truck. We're gonna get them off, get them all tight and stacked up nice so the boxes are square again, and leave them to the rain, because that's what it's doing again. Another cold front coming through, so hopefully it's gonna stop soon and they can get busy.